Hey y'all, welcome back to Paranoia Corner, and welcome back to 13 Sentinels. So this is gonna be kind of weird. We're back here because I realized something the other day, or today in this case. I was watching the Castle Super Beast, a podcast held by Willie and Pat from Super Best Friends. Is it a Super Best Friends channel? Yeah, well, that channel's done, and you kind of just have a podcast on Willie's channel called Willie's Versus. Anyway, they talked about the 13 Sentinels, the game. So essentially, Willie finished the game on his channel, and he started talking about like all the things about 13 Sentinels, and they talked about how like a bunch of files opened up in this game after you go through the final level, and I was like, what, really? So I took a look at analysis earlier, and like, yeah, there's a lot of new highlights that I didn't check after I beat the game. I was just so like worn out at that point. For the most part, it was just me recording at like 3 a.m. in the morning. I just had to get through the game. But yeah, we're gonna just go through these mystery files and figure out if any questions we had earlier in this game were answered here, and etc. But yeah, mystery files. As the story progresses, these files provide answers to mysteries related to the individuals and incidents that occur. You can unlock these answers by completing the protagonist's events, receiving them as battle rewards, and by using the mystery points you obtain through fighting kaiju. Yeah, I had to read that because it felt right. Okay, anyway, so we're gonna scroll down. So Tetsuya Ida, 2188. During a bug regression test, the 2188 Tetsuya Ida noticed that a part of the final phase had been altered, so he reported this discovery to Renya Goto. The change was made in Chihiro Morimura's host to trigger a memory overwrite. Though the memory's contents remain unknown, it's clear that Jiro Izumi was the one who made the change. So, right, that was like a big thing where Morimura's memories got, or to trigger a memory overwrite for whatever reason. I forgot why. I don't think they said why. Tsukasa Okino, 2 loops ago. The Tsukasa Okino from 2 loops ago, 32 years ago, survives the war. Along with his friends Jiro, Izumi, and Morimura, he goes down the giant tunnel that the kaiju created and discovers universal control, how to shift between different sectors, and the countdown to the destruction of their world. Right. Although he was able to send Izumi and Morimura to the next loop by shifting them to Sector 0, he himself disappeared along with that world. Right, so this is when, basically Chihiro and Jiro just kind of were like, oh, we're screwed, and then he sacrifices himself, and we think he's okay, but he's really not. He's just dead. Or I guess he becomes AI or some data form. Unless he just disappears. I'm not too sure what happens. Tamao Kurabe. So, since humanity lacked the technology to sustain life across multiple light years travel at the time, Tamao Kurabe's plan for Project Ark was to transport only the genetic information over to the New World, where cloning and species restoration efforts would occur. However, since she believed that humanity is defined by the inheritance and evolution of our culture and knowledge, she also came up with the growth pods to teach the necessary information in a virtual world over the course of 20 years. Hence, all this AI mumbo-jumbo that's happening. And that they have like 20 years to become ready, prepared adults to tackle an alien world and repopulate it and make it Earth 2, basically. Weird. Okay, so Tamao Kurabe 1 loop ago. As if, yeah, this is gonna be confusing with how many iterations of characters there are. The AI of Tamao Kurabe that was born 1 loop ago. The body is the Tamao android prior to 426 taking control of it. When the Tomi Kisaragi android 426 chased Natsuno Minami into the girls' bathroom, Tamao fought and destroyed the Kisaragi android. However, 426 seized the opportunity to take over Tamao Kurabe's body, which erased her AI. Damn, that's just gone. So he killed AI, Jiro Kurabe, or Jiro Izumi, aka 426. As Jiro Izumi would have become a husk due to the battle in 2025, she changed his personality into the calm and obedient Jiro Kurabe. Okay, she took pity on Megumi Yakushiji, who loved the prior Izumi, so she allowed Yakushiji to live with Kurabe and look after him. So there was a Tamao that just wasn't seen, and I guess she was older, and she was like, you know what, you're cool to stay with this kid, because I feel bad. Alright, Tamao 1985, okay, this is the person. So when the Tamao Karabe from one loop ago arrived in 1985, the AI, Tamao Karabe, parentheses Granny, originally from 1985, was erased by universal control since they are the same person. Okay. So this is essentially what happened to like the Chibi Morimura, who was like the sister of Miura, Keitaro Miura, right? They got the little chibi. They were like, all right, you're useless. We need to put someone else's personality in you, and basically merge them / erase the first person. Which, yeah, I mean, even though they're AI, that's pretty gruesome. To eliminate any discrepancies, the erased Tamao was established to be visiting relatives in Shimane. Sure. Chihiro, the mini one. The chibi one. Though Chihiro was born on March 2nd, 2100, her actual identity is Professor Chihiro Morimura from 2188. Okay, therefore she has no recollection about 2 loops ago or the time before Chihiro was born in the current loop, as those memories belong to the Morimura from 2 loops ago. Can we read this sentence together? Therefore she has no recollection about 2 loops ago or the time before Chihiro was born in the current loop, as those memories belong to the Morimura from 2 loops ago. I get it. Like, this is just the professor. This is the OG Chihiro Morimura. But there's too many. The 2 loops ago gets said twice in this sentence. So confusing. Okay, she also has the memories from 2188, which includes knowledge about Project Arc and the simulated space. Her feelings towards Jiro Izumi and her maternal instincts towards Tsukasa Okino. Right. So, right, the OG still like Jiro for whatever reason. I mean, he was a rugged, handsome man, and then also, I mean, this iteration is the only one that feels motherly, quote unquote, to Tsukasa Okino. They don't really, Okino and Yori don't really hang out too much, other than the time they did in Nenji's Groundhog Day experience, essentially. Okay, so that's that. Miss Morimura, the grown-up version of Chihiro Morimura from 2 loops ago. When the world was reset, the Morimura that was saved in Sector 0 continued into the new world as a simulated personality. Right. So I think she got past. So this is the same person who gets saved by Okino. Like, Okino saves her and Jiro Izumi, and then they both, Jiro Izumi and this Chihiro Morimura, end up still like biting the dust and continue into the new world as simulated personality. Right. I think that makes sense. Miwako, an AI managed by Universal Control. Nice. Takemi Wajima, AI managed by Universal Control. Jiro Izumi 2 loops ago. During the Kaiju invasion 2 loops ago, 32 years ago, Jiro Izumi arrived at a mysterious underground facility along with his friends Tsukasa Okino and Morimura. Right. With Okino's help, Izumi and Morimura managed to escape the end of that world, but due to the radical actions in an attempt to change the future, Izumi gets captured by the government and becomes known as prisoner number 426. So that was in that one cutscene where he's just in jail, like, I think he's just sitting on a chair. He meets himself from another, I guess, from another sector, another loop, and then the world ends around them, right? And they somehow survive. He's also, like, interrogated by Onishi, right? Like, another version of Onishi? Weird. Okay, what Jiro Izumi from 2 loops ago looks like after 16 years, right? So they're kind of, like, in their 30s, essentially, here. 426. His true identity is Jiro Izumi from 2 loops ago. He tried to kill all the candidates 1 loop ago because he theorized that the kaiju invasions would stop if all candidates for the decode control key were gone. Which essentially, I mean, it makes sense because it's like they kept passing the decode around, and it like, what is it? They it's like it passed based on like how they interacted with each other, or like, you know, just passed on one person to another. So it makes sense. It was brutal because, you know, he shot all those children, but it makes sense. I see the logic. Okay, AI managed by Universal Control. Professor Joji, an AI managed by Universal Control. Still, we have no idea who this man is. Heida Takamiya, also AI. Track members, they are all AI. Everyone you love is AI. Everyone you hate is AI. Men in black suits, Wajima's crows, all AI. Everyone's AI. Policemen, all AI. Keigo Ogata, oh man. He's not AI. Or technically he is, no? He died. He left behind a simulated AI construct of a personality. They're all AI. Everyone you know is an AI person. Most functions of the current automated factories takes place online. Not only has the production time been drastically shortened, but due to the technological leaps of 2188, their potential range of products output is near infinite. Right, that's cool. DD426. Ito uses DD426 in hopes that the Sentinel project would result in a failure. He had given up on this world, so he wanted to start a new loop quickly. Right, that's why he kind of sabotages, or he gets Ryoko to sabotage Ace Sentinel. What a douche. Can't believe everyone gets a happy ending at the end of this game. Some AI are meant to be dead. Okay, Deimos, a program code that was written in 2188, 20 million years ago during the heyday of an ancient civilization. 20 million years ago! So there's a hard date of when all this shit happened, all this shit popped off. 2188 was 20 million years ago. And they kept looping, I guess, to get to where we are today, or at this point in time in the game. The 2188 researcher Ryoko Shinonome was sick of humanity and believed peace could only be attained through genocide. She was the one responsible for this code. So, again, more context. Deimos code, it destroyed another world. So she's the originator of the D code, and essentially the D code is just trying to murder the humans that are remaining, I guess. Destroy humanity's chance. So loop. One loop ago refers to one loop before the current time, and 2 loops ago refers to 2 loops before the current time. I think anyone could have figured that out. The nurturing of the 15 members started once the terraforming of the new planet was completed, but the details of the terraforming's official end date are unknown. Therefore, the details on when the current loop began, or how many have passed before it, are unknown. However, based on the stability of the facility, it's believed that there have been at least 300 loops leading up to this point. Does that make sense when 2188, 20 million years ago, right? Okay, it started once the terraforming of the new planet was completed. Right, okay, so from what I understand, a lot of those 20 million years ago, or within the 20 million years, it was a lot of traveling, a lot of spaceship, a lot of light years passed, and they finally found like a planet. And once they found the planet, they started this whole looping thing. So I guess, I don't know how long a loop takes, right? How many before it began? Yeah, it doesn't really say, oh, as of yet, like how long a loop takes, but essentially, around, give or take 20 million years passed, and then they've terraformed the planet that was habitable, or they could have it living, right? And then they just started the looping thing. But there's been at least 300 loops leading up to this point, right? Cool. Proliferation of probes, a theory that Professor Yuki Takamiya of 2188 advocated and implemented for Project Arc. The probes carry DNA payloads to keep the human race alive, and they self-replicate and repair using the natural resources mined from asteroids in their path through deep space. They continually build up and break down, even through any unforeseen accidents. As long as they proliferate themselves like living organisms, they'll eventually arrive at their destination. So for 20 million years, these little pods they sent out in 2188, like right before humanity just up and killed itself, are just flying around in space. The little genes, little genetic code that maybe walk into an asteroid. Some of them are not gonna make it. But they're just all spread out, trying to find their way through, find a habitable place, and yeah, they just keep themselves alive, or at least enough to self-replicate. That's crazy. This is sci-fi, alright. Cockpit. Growth pods intended to pass down humankind's culture and knowledge over the course of 20 years. These were meant for the 15 individuals who would inherit the new land. Those inside experience a world indistinguishable from reality through their nanomachines, as if they were living a normal life on Earth. Okay. Right, okay, and the cockpit is, since any pilots would suffer enormous damage from Kaiju Strike, right. Tsukasa Okino's original designs for the Sentinels didn't have cockpits. So, like, I guess when... So when they're in a Sentinel, do they just, like, jack out of the Matrix and they're like, oh, shit, where am I? This is weird. Like, isn't that strange? But can't they, like, also log back in and become, like, a human on the battlefield? That's kind of weird. I don't really understand that part. Maybe someone smarter can explain it to me. So leap attack. First generation Sentinel function. Use the rocket engines and pistons on both legs. The Sentinel leaps high into the air. The massive shockwave upon landing is powerful enough to topple Kaiju. Okay, this is just attacks. EMP attractor. High priority. Flying enemies. I mean, we've went through all this essentially. Ooh, limiter removal. I mean, this is all cool, but what is this? We don't need to read all of it, but this is interesting. When the Sentinel's joints or drive systems are under stress, temporary restrictions are placed on their movement to make sure those areas don't break. By removing these safe operating limits, however, the Sentinel can move at 3 times its normal speed. Long periods in this state will cause the Sentinel to break down, so it is considered best to avoid extensive use. So tackle, speed of Mach 1.47. Okay. Defense mode, sure. EMP surrounding, yep. Heavy knuckles. Rate of 4,500 rounds per minute. The initial firing speed of the bullets can reach 1,100 meters per second. Yeah, okay, cool. More stuff about weapons. Guardian Avenger, right? I didn't really take too much advantage of this mode, but it was cool. I still love interceptors. Any more stuff about interceptors? Okay. Second generation, right? I mean, that's cool. Melt armor, blah blah. Long range missiles, homing missiles, anti-air bombardment. Missile rain. Missile rain. That's another good move. Yeah, I forget. Like, that was the most flashy move, I think, in the game. You summon missile rain and half the screen is just covered in circles and you're like, oh, it's about to go down. It is gonna go down. Okay. More stuff about weapons. Leg spike. I never used this. It felt like every time I used this, it sucked. Apparently, there's violent vibrations of the metal molecules. I mean molecules. Why don't they say molecules? Shield repair. Yeah, no, that's a good move. That definitely helped in the later missions. Counter. Okay, cool. Kaiju. Okay, this is more interesting. The Kaiju are the result of a program created by Ryoko Shinonome of 2188, created to attack the simulated world by utilizing the simulation game, Daimos. She had done this to make sure humanity would not survive to see the new world. So again, Ryoko's kind of messed up in 2188. She's the one who creates the whole Daimos Kaiju thing. And it makes sense. I think it's in Yuki's story where she just sort of talks about it and she's like, yeah, the world sucks. Ida sucks. I hate everybody. Kill them all. That's terrible. Okay, worker. Originally transport drones for construction material. Cool. Universal control. All humans except for the 15 members of Project ARC are AI constructs that are controlled by universal control. Gosh dang. Artificial satellite in orbit. Once a probe arrives at a new planet and creates the artificial satellite, it also creates the facility and the growth pods there. Growth pods. Inside the growth pods, all the DNA data is used to start the nurturing process of the 15 project members. The command ship monitors the surface facilities so it can determine whether the final phase needs to be redone before any harm can come to these facilities. The surface facility so it can... wait. So does it create the facility and growth pods at the artificial satellite? No, I think... so the first sentence says it creates the artificial satellite, which is the one that Miyuki Inaba resides in for most of the game. And then it also creates a facility and growth pods on the planet, right? Because when they get out, they just kind of come into the new world. And then that's when the nurturing process happens, and then the command ship, aka the satellite, I guess, determines, you know, whether the final phase needs to be redone before any harm like happens at these facilities. So they just need to make sure the humans aren't going to try to kill each other again. To some degree. Jiro Izumi, okay, Sector 0. Jiro Izumi and Morimoto was able to unintentionally skip the loop because Tsukasa Okino sent their data to Sector 0 when the world was about to disappear 2 loops ago. Since then, Sector 0 has been used as a means to skip the loop. It's actually allocated to the virtual world playback machine as a storage region for the massive data that makes up each virtual space. So essentially, okay, so the idea is that these 30-year-old something rathers are just kind of still able to exist and become human, essentially, I think, because they don't necessarily become AI. They skip out on the whole, like, we turn to AI because they went to Sector 0, which is just Ground Zero, I guess. Okay, Sector 1, virtual space created in order to pass on the culture and knowledge of humanity to the 15 individuals arriving in the new land. The same for every other sector, right? Alright, facility. In truth, it holds... So, reading the earlier stuff, okay. In truth, it holds the growth pods and the computers that simulate virtual space. This facility was constructed on the planet after the terraforming phase was completed. Built to last for about 5,000 years. In truth, okay. Okay, so the facility is something that I'm gonna read the beginning. It houses the entire world. Its stability is reaching its breaking point. So when we read that, it means that it was close to the limit, 5,000 years essentially. And then it says, you know, once it gets taken out by kaiju, the facility will reset, preventing any other further loops. If this were to occur, the reset would wipe all data, including all memories stored in Sector 0. Right. The lives that everyone had experienced through time would cease to exist for good. So essentially, this is the main thing where people kept, like, Ida kept saying, like, oh, I'll just do another loop, I'll do another loop. And, like, Miyuki and Abu were like, no, 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 there are no more loops. And I think it was because this facility was built to last for 5,000 years. So they go off into space. They spend 20 million years going off into space finding a planet. They find a planet, they terraform the planet, then they create the facility, and they start the Project Arc thing, whatever, where they basically shove these, you know, AI simulations and into each other and try to figure out, like, you know, we need the best, like, set of humans to sort of continue this race. But they only had this facility last for so long, or could only, maybe it was only built to last for 5,000 years. Maybe they can do more than that. I mean, yeah, I guess that's it, you know? There's what has existed for 5,000 years that's intact, right? That's crazy. How would you even do that? Especially if it's like a planet like Earth? Well, I mean, like, were there dinosaurs? Like, maybe part of a habitable planet is like finding a planet that doesn't have like these giant predators, you know? Man, there's so much into this. Shootout dream, okay. A shootout dream. It's not actually a dream, but a real event that Jiro Izumi, 426 of 2 loops ago, and Morimura experienced 1 loop ago. After this incident, Izumi gets captured by the police, and Morimura escapes to another sector. Okay. Right. Shikishima's Interstellar Development Project. So this is one of the projects that they formerly ran, number 8834. The first phase of the space initiative ends with the dispersal of countless probes carrying the DNA data of 15 individuals. Right, that's the first phase of this development project. The second phase ends when the terraforming of the new planet is completed. Okay, the final phase refers to the creation of clones based off the DNA data of the 15 individuals dormant until they safely arrive at their new Earth when they reach 20 years in age. Furthermore, the 15 clones spend their 20 years in virtual space, where they undergo a special training program designed to provide vital knowledge for the final 2 years. So I guess they just have fun for the first 18 years in their sectors, and then they're just, alright, you're 18, gotta go into space military. Space military? What do you mean? Oh, we just get in, you just find out. And then they get trained up. That's interesting, okay. It's just I guess the names, the labels of the phases as well as what they do. Nightmare. Yeah, that dream where you killed everybody. Dream is an incident that occurred 1 loop ago, and the person who killed everyone is Jiro Izumi, 426 from 2 loops ago. Total of 6 deaths, which included Jiro Izumi from 1 loop ago, A. Sekigahara, Ryoko Shinonome, Tsukasa Okino, Yakushiji, and Morimura. Is that... Okay, so I'm assuming like this essentially happens when Jiro Izumi finds himself in prison, and then basically the Titans, the kaiju are attacking, and he's like, ah, shit, I understand what's happening, and then he just offs his self because those idiots let like this child get into like this criminal jail cell, in this jail cell with the criminal, but then the world starts to end, so I guess like there's no security or something, so he just offs him, Jiro Izumi. And then he goes, finds a gun, and he just starts offing people until Morimura kind of like shuts him down. Okay, Sector 5. Keitaro Miura, Takatoshi Hijiyama, and Tamao Kurabe was born in this era. 1980, so Yuki Takamiya, Natsuno Minami, and Nainji Ogata were born in this era. The 2020s. The 2020s is an era of worldwide progress in communications technology, as well as rapid growth in simulated reality and video content. Furthermore, advancements in medical technology vastly improve human longevity. Sure. Is there any interesting descriptions? No? Yeah, okay. Sector 3, Megumi Yakushiji, Tomi Kisaragi, and Shu Amiguchi were born in this era. Moreover, Tetsuya Ida and Miyuki Inaba were born in this era one loop ago. Right, so they're 4. Shu is born in this era. I guess he's born in this era, and then Tetsuya Ida takes him and shoves him into the 1980s for reasons. Okay, the 2060s are characterized by rapid worldwide progress in robotics and AI technology. With the Mars exploration starting to gain momentum, the terraforming project becomes more and more feasible. Sector 2, Ei Sekigahara, Renya Goto, and Ryoko Shinonome were born in this era. Okay. Sure, that's a description of the eras. Sector 1, Jiro Uzumi, this is 2100s, Jiro Uzumi, Churo Izumi, I keep like mixing up the syllables of his name. Chihiro Moribura and Tsukasa Okino were born in this era, so it's like, you know, either 3 or 4 people were born in each era. That's neat. Man. Sekigahara's motorcycle. The motorcycle originally belonged to Morimura, but since Sekigahara is borrowing it from her, both Morimura and Sekigahara are registered as its users. Okay, so they wrapped that up. That loose end. The truth. Wonder what the truth has. Okay, Reds will agree with. This was prepared by the Tamao android, which contains the simulated personality of Tamao Karabe. Right. The truth. The place they reside on now is planet RS-13 Alpha, 1200 light years from Earth following the Virgo constellation. It has been 20 million years since the probes departed Earth. When the terraforming of the new planet was finished, the cloning process from the DNA of the 15 began in the facility area. The city that the 15 believed to be reality was a simulated environment in a digital space, while in reality their true bodies were gestating in growth pods. The nanomachines in their brains made their experiences feel real. These are the experiences of 15 children who ventured forth into an undiscovered land 20 million years after humanity initiated Project Ark on the brink of extinction. After millennia of wandering through space, they finally find their new home. Or find a new home. Wow, that's crazy. And yeah, we're back here in analysis. And there's so much here. Oh, planet RS-13 Alpha. Man, I mean, Jesus. Well, that was the end of the mystery file. That was, again, this is some crazy ass shit. Just like, what? I totally forgot about how Ryoko had that one thing where she had that interaction with her 2188 voicemail, essentially. Where it's like, yeah, I fucked up the world. Deal with it. I hate it. And it's like, right. And it just kind of doesn't get brought up until like now, where it's like, oh, she's the one who started all this Daimos nonsense. And I'm like, god damn, Ryoko, why? But yeah, man, just it's been a month or many weeks, I think, since I finished the game. And yeah, coming back to it just brings back good old memories, guys. Like, damn, I forgot how good this game is. It's probably gonna be surprised something rather, or you know, that I'm probably gonna do for this game. Ooh, I wonder what it is. Now I put pressure on myself to make it and complete it. But yeah, be on the lookout for that if you're interested. But yeah, if you like what you see, feel free to subscribe. It's been a great journey on this game so far, and I'm looking forward to the next one. But yeah, see you in the next one.